So it's the morning after the night before, or whatever. Ring of Honor's 60th anniversary pay-per-view aired on pay-per-view, Honor Club, all the other stuff. Overall, I'd say a solid show. There was quite a lot of good stuff in it. There's also quite a bit of weird stuff. Probably in a good way. But overall, I'd say it's worth certainly checking out. So, it actually started off on Facebook with the two women's matches that they were having as part of the Women of Honor Championship Tournament. So they started off with the first round match, which was the debuting, not just in Ring of Honor, but also in America, of Hana Kimura taking on Sumi Sakai. The great thing, I shouldn't say great. The odd thing with this is, I mean, understandably, because of Sumi, they had Hana be heel. But they did it in such a way where it's like uber cheap heat. They didn't really do it right, even with Kagetsu. You know, Kagetsu getting involved, it sort of made sense that you're establishing it as a heel. But it was all sort of cheap stuff, and it was sort of like, oh, well, she's in Japan, she's new here. Delirious booked her as a heel. Especially when it got to the end, because Sumi won. And, you know, at the start of the match, Hana refused the handshake, and then at the end, Sumi did it. Sumi offered her hand as well. And Hana was just like, oh, sorry. And then did a slap on the level of Jenna Maraska versus Shamel, or God knows what. It was just like, wait, you're supposed to be a wrestler, and you did a slap that looked like, it looked terrible. And having seen some of her and Odio Tai's work in Japan, she's better than that. I don't know what happened there. And then, in a random thing to put on a pre-show, Brandy Rhodes versus Tennille Dashwood. Yeah, they, rather than put it on like the main show, then again, with everything that was on the main show, it sort of made sense. So yeah, Emma's just wrestling for free, because the first match that she had got put up for free on YouTube to catch up with this, because obviously they were going to be showing this tonight, or showing this Friday night, I should say. And then the second one is free on Facebook. The added twist is they announced before this match was starting, the semi-finals and the finals are all going to be at Supercard of Honor, with the two semi-finals being on the pre-show, which I guess again will be free on Facebook or whatever, and then the main event to crown the champion will actually be on the pay-per-view / iPay-per-view stream. So yeah, interesting. It was sort of back and forth at first, because it was a weird sort of mix of quite a few things, because Emma started off as sort of like the cocky one, because, you know, she was the actual wrestler and Brandy wasn't, and making fun of her and everything. And then by the end, Brandy became the heel, because she was like, oh, I've hurt my knee, and the referee checks on it. Which, rightfully, the commentators are like, she's going to heal it or something? You know, and one thing, Ian and Colt are really, really proving to be a pretty good duo as a commentary team. I'm growing to like them more and more week by week as I hear them. So, props to those two guys. Can't wait to see what they give us now with the 3 or 4 weeks we've got to build up to Supercard of Honor at WrestleMania weekend. But yeah. Also, interestingly, Brandy hit the crossroads, didn't work, kicked out, and then the finish botch happened. Yeah. Brandy went for a missile drop kick. It did not work. It was absolutely bad. It was just terrible. Tenille won with a running kick move. So she goes on definitive. Well, because that was the second round match, she is now in the semi-finals. So she is going to be part of Supercard of Honor. Whether it's on the pre-show or the main show or both, we'll see. Or, well, whether it's the pre-show or both, because can't have one or the other. Then the dogs came out. Were just, Rhett Titus, dear Lord. I don't know what's happened to the man. Oh, I need to... trying to work out what's going on here. Wow. So that spider went all the way from there when I was there last night, all the way to right on my bloody speaker. Sorry about that, guys. So we opened up with Flip Gordon versus Hiromu. Really good opener. Probably not as good as it could have been. Oh yeah, that spider's still about. Trying to blow him off course. Somewhere afresh. It wasn't as good as they probably could do. I've got a feeling, because of the way that they've built it up in Japan, and obviously on this, with now Hiromu being 2-1 up. Yes, he won. I mean, if you want to say 2-1, because it's the first time they've gone head-to-head directly. Part of me is feeling Flip Gordon's getting booked for Super Juniors, and they're going to have that versus Hiromu in one of the blocks. That's when they might go crazy. Takahashi winning with a time bomb, but yeah, good opener. Good opener. Then another good match with some interesting psychology as well, with an interesting finish. I know some people out there were sort of a little bit like with a finish, but I sort of see the logic behind it. So Marty Scurll Punishment Martinez, number 1 contendership match, I guess for Supercard of Honor. Martinez was doing crazy dives. Scurll was doing crazy stuff. Even before the bell rang. It was sort of action-packed from the off. I mean, the third of the dives was the interesting one, going for the flip dive onto a table, but Scurll moved, so Martinez went through the table. So the interesting thing, the finish was a nice little twist. Scurll pulled his bag of powder out. And of course the referee was like, we're not having that and everything. But then later on, thanks to, I guess, the referee getting distracted by something, probably the umbrella, Scurll got the bag back. Went in, grabbed for the powder, threw it at Martinez. Martinez covered his eyes Except, of course, Marty threw nothing. It was all a ploy. Low blowed Martinez behind his back. Rolls him up. Gets the 3 count. And Marty Scurll will be facing Lethal or Castle at Supercard of Honor. I'm guessing. Well worked. And I think the swerve of the finish, I think was pretty nice. So then, Kenny King, Silas Young for the TV title, the rematch after Kenny got it back at the last show. So, the angle that we've got here is there was a ref bump, and Silas Young had hit Misery, and had like probably a 4 or 5 count. But the referee only got there for like 4. So it would have been 4, 5, but he kicked out. So obviously that relates to 2. So, but then Kenny won with a Royal Flush. And Kenny retains. And that seems pretty interesting. And then it got weird. Because lo and behold, out comes Austin Aries and says, he's been going all over the world collecting belts. He's also won belts in Ring of Honor, but there's one belt that he's never had, and that's the TV title. And you've got something on your shoulder I want, and that the belt collector never gets tired of winning belts. So here I'm thinking, okay, is Impact this desperate? Looking into the notes on this from all the various sources, be it, Observer, be it P. Windsor, all of it. The key thing to note, apparently, is he doesn't Austin Aries, the Impact World Champion, because that's what it's called again, not Global, doesn't have a contract with Impact Wrestling. He's their world champion. That would be the equivalent of AJ or Brock being where they are in the company as champion right now and not having a contract, meaning they could go wherever they want. So there is all possibility that Impact didn't know this was going to happen. In which case, man, I want to be a fly on the wall. Because that might be fun. Probably in a bad way. Because now I'm thinking, if Impact's doing a show as part of the whole WrestleCon stuff, but then again, I don't know how it fits in the schedule compared to Ring of Honor being on Saturday, going head-to-head with NXT. So, So, then we get to the 6-man tag title situation. Daniels, Kaz, and Scorpio Sky versus Adam Page and the Young Bucks. all the crazy sort of spots. One thing I will mention earlier on in the Marty Scurll match, there was a nasty little cut on Marty's eye, which obviously came hard way, but only reason to bring that up is because there was quite a bit of bleeding, at least from Kazarian in this one. He got busted open pretty badly. Loads of crazy spots, over and over and over, just work together with the six of them, you know, in various groups, pairings, one-on-ones, that sort of thing. So the finish, the key bit with the finish was Adam Page got zip tied to the ring post. The Bucks were going for the Meltzer driver. Matt's back went out when he was trying it. And then Scorpio managed to use the Diamond Cutter on Matt and put him in the Dragon Sleeper. Then started choking him out with a Kenzo stick while Kaz put him in a Boston Crab, and he just had to tap out and whatever. Couldn't help and whatever. You know, Shane Taylor interfered. And then afterwards, the Kingdom's Vinny Marseglia and TK Orion beat up the Bucks and laid them out. And part of me's going, why? I mean, was it because the Bucks then wouldn't be able to help, you know, Cody? Which is interesting, because, I don't know. That never came into the picture anyway. We'll get to that. So they came out, and then Bully Ray basically got rid of him. So now we come to Cody versus Matt Taven for the ring. Taven was on his own, at least from the start. Cody wasn't, however. He had Brandy Rhodes and the most important character in this storyline, Barry the Drug-Free Bear. Part of me is saying I called this. We'll get to it. They have a good back and forth match. Taven keeps calling Cody Stardust. Use the Crossroads on him. Even the climax, as he calls it, the 1%er. Cody managed to kick out of them all. There was a ref bump late on. Vinny and TK tried to come in to make the save. Or try to help their guy. You know, Taven, they held Cody up. Taven went for a big old low blow, but Cody didn't sell it, revealing that he had a steel cup in there. Bully Ray then came back, getting rid of Vinny and TK, and Cody hit the Crossroads to get the win. He went over to Bobby Cruz, the ring announcer, who'd been given the ring as safekeeping. So yeah, he got the ring back. And, you know, Cody's celebrating in the ring. He's finally got his ring. Brandy's with him and everything. And Barry the Bear's getting in the ring. He's like, yes! And then he sort of just stops. And just, the Bear stares at Cody. And the Bear slowly takes off his head. And underneath, as I expected as soon as this character showed up, was Kenny Omega. And Cody sort of backing up on his backside going, don't do that. V-trigger connected. Then Brandy's yelling at him and slapping him around. Not like dramatically sort of super slapping, just like slapping him on the chest like, what do you think you're doing? Then, interestingly, she went and kissed him. And Kenny's like, what? And Brandy's now going like, Ibushi can't do that. You know, you're going to be jealous. My husband's kissed Ibushi, and I've kissed you. How can you act as a team? And part of me's going, okay, so the angle is they're going to probably do some sort of kiss angle with each other, the Golden Lovers. Which is, you know, considering the name, doesn't that make sense? At Super Guard of Honor. In some shape or form. Then the tag title match. It's a shame it had to follow up the Omega reveal, but it was still a very good match. Mark got busted open pretty badly from a ring post throw, or being thrown into the post. A lot of like big moves over and over again, like we have with the 6-man. Sabin even using the cradle shock, which he hasn't used in a while, but the Briscoes kicked out. Sabin kicked out with the Jay Driller for the finish, but then Jay pinned Sabin after a Doomsday Device double team. So the Briscoes are 9-time tag champs. Overall, though, very good match. And then the main event, Don Castle, Jay Lethal. Another good main event as well, I will say. Lethal kept working the leg to obviously try and stop the bang-rang and whatever. Dalton was doing some very nice suplex work for the match. Lethal managed to actually connect with Lethal Injection midway through, really. So sort of tease the sort of upset. I wouldn't say upset because they're both very good contenders, but tease the sort of relatively quick win, but Dalton kicked out. There was quite a few tope suicidas as well from Lethal, one of which managed to take out the ring announcer. During which Cruz actually connected with the bloody barricade that was behind him. So, a bit awkward there. But eventually, the finish came with Dalton going for the bangarang, Lethal escaping it, tried to cradle him, Castle kicked out, connected with the bangarang again, this time got it, got the 3 count. Dalton still is your Ring of Honor champion. They shook hands afterwards as well, a nice little touch, and then Marty showed up to challenge Dalton for the title, and it went off the air with what I'm guessing is that's going to be the main event for Super Guard of Honor. Castle versus Skull, which should be a good match anyway. In terms of the tag team situation, I don't know what will happen with the Briscoes. We'll have to see who will challenge them. I guess you could have Sabin and Shelley in a rematch. Possibly as ladder war if they wanted to do that. We know Cody's got Omega. I guess they're going to try and position because of they beat up the Bucks. So, I mean, you could have Kingdom challenge for the Trios titles, I guess. Probably Kenny King, Austin Aries, Double A versus Double K. Where's the 47s? Oh, we need Alison. If that's the case, we need Alison Kay, because then that's AK on the show with AA versus KK. It's like so many letters. And I mean, I don't know what else. I think there are. I mean, we've obviously got the women's matches as well. I'd say Tenille is a probable likely finalist that we'll be seeing on the main show, but we'll see. In terms of everybody else, I can't remember the name. I can't remember the brackets and everything, but overall, pretty good Ring of Honor show. I will give it that. And yeah, if you can, check it out. You know, on the archive on Honor Club, because I don't know whether it's like on pay-per-view replay or whatever via the main system. So all in all, pretty solid. Check out all the other content here on Podcast Network, be it movie stuff with AJ, Halloween Horror Nights, or sip and snack stuff with Owen, me with gaming, wrestling, food, all that sort of stuff. That's me done. I'll speak to you on the next video, whatever that may be. Bye, everybody.